Hello there, I'm Anita and you're watching Nightline. The top stories. Prime Minister assures that no one will be left out under the Urban Poverty Programme. And government allows 6 categories of students to return to campus from March 1st. Our headlining story. As the nation faces a spike in COVID-19 infections, the Yang di-Pertuan Agong on Sunday called on the people to adhere to the standard operating procedures (SOP) set by the authorities. In facing difficult times, Al-Sultan Abdullah Riayatuddin Al-Mustafa Billah Shah also advised the people to stay calm and to persevere in the face of the Movement Control Order (MCO) and the proclamation of emergency for the safety of themselves and the country.
The King said this in his message in conjunction with the Federal Territories Day on Monday. Al-Sultan Abdullah said economic growth figures will only be meaningful if the people have adequate sources of income, comfortable housing, perfect education, good health, sustainable environment and security that is always preserved to live a happy and prosperous life. He said COVID-19 has taught the nation a very meaningful lesson and the nation is able to fight and deal with the pandemic as evident in efforts by the frontliners who work tirelessly to protect the health of the people. The King said that even if the government is in a difficult situation, the welfare of the people will not be neglected. In conjunction with Federal Territories Day, the ruler called on the people to appreciate the spirit of patriotism and love the Federal Territories by instilling a caring attitude. The Yang di-Pertuan Agong also invited the people to pray for the country, in particular the Federal Territories, to remain independent, free and sovereign forever.
Meanwhile, Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin in his speech on Sunday night said cost of living, sustenance and poverty eradication issues in the Federal Territory will be the government's main focus through various approaches taken under the Urban Poverty Programme 5 Mai. He pointed out that to improve these initiatives, the Federal Territory Ministry will redouble its efforts on determining the target recipients to ensure that no one is left out.
Kementerian Wilayah Persekutuan dengan kerjasama Yayasan Wilayah Persekutuan dan Majlis Perwakilan Penduduk Wilayah Persekutuan melalui program My Beras at Wilayah akan mula menyumbangkan 5,750 kampit beras secara percuma setiap minggu kepada penduduk dari kumpulan keluarga B40 di Kuala Lumpur, Putrajaya dan Labuan bermula pada hari ini.
The Prime Minister said this when launching the 5 Mai aid programme for the urban poor in the Federal Territories, with My Beras at Wilayah being the latest addition to the programme. Tan Sri Muhyiddin said the ministry was also taking a proactive approach in completing government initiatives by implementing a social safety net programme in the Federal Territory and also by providing initiatives that benefit the people. He added that over 35,000 individuals and heads of households and 331 low-cost housing areas in Kuala Lumpur had directly received assistance from the programme in 2020. In other news, Federal Territories Minister Tan Sri Anwar Musa said more recreational areas and public parks will be set up to provide more green to the concrete forest in the federal capital, which is now inhabited by 1.9 million people. He said this is one of the ministry's aspirations towards providing a better quality of life and more comfortable living for city dwellers, apart from ensuring balanced development and a sustainable environment. In an exclusive interview with Bernama, Tan Sri Anwar said the move would involve upgrading and beautification of 7 abandoned lakes in the north of the city under the 2020 to 2040 Kuala Lumpur Structure Plan, PSKL, which is expected to be launched in the middle of this year. He said PSKL also outlined, among others, development of large-scale public parks in Bukit Kiara and the upgrading of Taman Botani Perdana and Taman Tugu, as well as the goal of creating a garden city. He added providing affordable housing for city dwellers under the Caring Residency Initiative, costing about 200,000 ringgit per unit, and with a target of 20,000 units, will also be given priority. A total of 5 sites in Putrajaya and 1 in Seputeh have been identified for the construction of the housing project, adding that priority will be given to young buyers. Touching on development in Labuan, Tan Sri Anwar said several development projects, including construction of a lunar observation centre and a bridge connecting Labuan with mainland Sabah, will be implemented. Malaysia breached the 5,000 mark in daily COVID-19 cases for the third consecutive day on Sunday, with 5,298 infections, bringing the current national infection tally to 214,959 cases.
According to the Health Ministry, only 3 of the new cases were imported. The first time the nation recorded cases above 5,000 was on January 29th. New cases in Selangor declined to 2,460, whereas in Johor, new infections passed the 1,000 mark. New infections in Kuala Lumpur has almost doubled, while in Sabah the figure is still below 300. 10 new clusters were also recorded on Sunday, of which more than half were workplace-related. Meanwhile, the death toll rose to 760, with 14 new deaths recorded. In the intensive care unit, there are 313 patients, with 127 of them requiring respiratory assistance. The Health Ministry also reported that total recoveries for the day stands at 4,522 cases.
The Health Ministry, meanwhile, said the spike in the number of new daily COVID-19 cases is due to the late reporting of cases to the Ministry, including positive cases of 2020. The sharp increase in cases is due to targeted workplace screening, close contact screening and high-risk group screening conducted on a large scale in several states. However, for such late reported cases, appropriate action have been taken by the District Health Office, such as isolation and treatment of positive cases, close contact detection and active case detection. The Ministry also said there have also been delays in reporting using the public health laboratory system by registered private facilities such as clinics and private hospitals. The Health Ministry assured that it will work with all relevant parties so that the issue of delay in reporting positive cases can be addressed immediately to curb the spread of COVID-19 in the country. The draft amendments to the Prevention and Control of Infectious Diseases Act 1988, or Act 342, have been submitted to the Attorney General's Chambers, AGC. Health Director General Tan Sri Dr. Noor Hisham Abdullah said the amendments to the Act are necessary to enable the compound for offenders of COVID-19 standard operating procedures to be raised.
Jadi kalau kita lihat sekarang ni untuk compound Akta 342 maksimal ialah 1,000 saja. Iaitu akta ni telah kita draftkan pada tahun 1988. Jadi memang ada keperluan untuk kita buat pindaan. Jadi pindaan pun kita draftkan dan kita serahkan pada AG. Jadi sekarang ni kita menggunakan ordinan darurat untuk kita buat pindaan tersebut.
Tan Sri Dr. Noor Hisham said this to reporters after visiting the State COVID-19 Quarantine and Treatment Centre for Low-Risk Patients, or PKRC, at Pusat Tarbiyah Islamiyah in Pekala Cepa, Kelantan on Sunday. He said although the proposed amendment to Act 342 would be focused on the penalty and compound for offences, he stressed that full compliance of all Malaysians with the SOP is still key to curbing the spread of COVID-19 in the country. On Sunday, Inspector General of Police Tan Sri Abdul Hamid Badur reportedly said that the time has come for the compound to be increased for flouting the SOP following the spike in COVID-19 cases in the country. He said that each week, thousands of compound notices were issued to individuals who flouted the MCO SOP, mostly for the rule of physical distancing. The National Security Council has agreed to allow 6 categories of students of higher learning institutions, IPT, to return to their respective campuses beginning March 1st to resume hybrid teaching and learning, or PDP, which is both physical and online lessons.
In a statement on Sunday, the Higher Education Ministry, KPT, said these 6 categories include certificate, diploma, bachelor's degree and postgraduate students who need to conduct clinical work and practicals requiring laboratories, workshops, design studios and special equipment. Also allowed are students who do not have access to online learning, foundational level students with campuses able to support hybrid learning, existing and new international students except those from the United Kingdom, disabled students and students taking the Malaysia University English test as well as international and professional examinations. The ministry said the hybrid learning will be fully compliant with the NSC's standard operating procedures to curb COVID-19 infections. The KPT said students who are not in these categories will continue their PDP online. Further information on the student admission can be obtained by contacting the KPT COVID-19 Operations Room, which is open 24 hours, or visiting the IPT website or contacting the respective IPTs.
The Education Ministry said on Sunday that the date for reopening of the face-to-face school sessions will be made at least a week before the school opens. Senior Minister for Education Muhammad Radzi Majidin gave this assurance after receiving many inquiries regarding the school reopening status for face-to-face sessions for non-examination students. In his Facebook post on Sunday, Muhammad Radzi said the operation was important to enable teachers, parents and students to have enough time to make proper preparations. He said the operation of the school has been stated in the frequently asked questions on the issue by his ministry on January 18th. Currently, the ministry has postponed the 2021 school session following the increase in positive COVID-19 cases nationwide. However, face-to-face school sessions only involve students who will sit for the Sijil Pelajaran Malaysia (SPM), Sijil Vocational Malaysia (SVM), Sijil Kemahiran Malaysia (SKM), Sijil Tinggi Persekolahan Malaysia (STPM), Sijil Tinggi Agama Malaysia (STAM), and Diplomas Vocational Malaysia (DVM) in 2020, as well as equivalent international examinations. All primary school students and Forms 1 to Form 5 students in secondary schools will follow the learning through the method of teaching and learning at home, PDPR, according to the suitability of teachers and students from January 20th. Still to come on Nightline, police nab 4 seized 3.67 million ringgits worth of drugs in Kedah and Pulau Pinang. The details right after this break. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Still on Nightline. Police confirmed the mother of a 7-year-old child who died, believed to have been abused last Friday, once sought psychiatric treatment. Melaka CID Chief ACP Muhammad Sukri Kaman said the 32-year-old suspect, however, only received normal treatment and not as a mental patient. ACP Muhammad Sukri said the suspect had received the treatment in 2019 at the Melaka Hospital. It was, however, just a regular treatment in which the woman was not having mental issues as alleged. Meanwhile, ACP Muhammad Sukri urged social media users to stop speculations into the case. He said the situation could confuse the community, thus interfere with the investigation. He commented on the case of a married couple suspected of abusing and killing Zubaidi Amir Kushairi Abdul Malik, aged 7, in Taman Krubong Jaya. The duo were remanded for 7 days until February 5th to assist in the investigation of the case. In the incident at about 4 p.m. last Friday, the boy was found drowned in a water container at the house. Physical examination revealed some traces of injuries on several parts of the victim's body. A drug trafficking syndicate, which has been active since last September around Kedah and Pulau Pinang, was crippled with the arrest of 4 individuals. Bukit Aman Narcotics CID Director Datuk Razarudin Hussein said the arrest of the 3 men and women were carried out as a result of raids on Wednesday in 3 different locations, which led to the discovery of various drugs worth 3.67 million ringgit.
Di tempat yang kita rampas ini, kita daripada risikan adalah tempat bukannya memproses. Dia lebih kepada pembungkusan, dan dadah-dadah yang dirampas adalah kebanyakannya dadah-dadah untuk private party. Dan kita pun kenal pasti dia punya buyer-buyer yang ada, dan kita masih lagi akan mengambil tindakan. Pasaran mana? Pasaran di Kedah dan di Penang sahaja. Buat masa ini daripada risikan yang kita ada.
The drugs seized included 11.18 kilograms of ecstasy, 17.8 kilograms of ketamine, 20.22 kilograms of Aramin 5 and juice drinks that were meant to cater for about 198,000 people. Police also seized various assets belonging to the syndicate, estimated to be worth 489,000 ringgit, making it the largest seizure in Kedah, with a total value of 4.2 million ringgit. 2 of the suspects tested positive for methamphetamine. All the suspects, aged between 32 and 33, were remanded for 7 days starting January 27th to assist in the investigation. The case is being investigated under the Dangerous Drugs Act 1952. Police have denied carrying out any bomb detonation or disposal activities following the earth-shattering sound and tremors felt by residents in several places in Sabah and Labuan on Sunday. Sabah Police Commissioner Datuk Hazani Ghazali said investigations were being conducted to determine the source of the booming sound and urged residents to be calm. Meanwhile, the Malaysian Maritime Enforcement Agency have mobilised its assets in Labuan waters and the border with Brunei to determine the source of the explosive sound. Labuan police said they had yet to receive reports from oil and gas industry players about it. The Royal Malaysian Navy have also denied that naval exercises were the source of the explosion, as it had concluded on January 28th. Earlier on Sunday, residents around the districts Sipitang and Beaufort in Sabah and Labuan were startled at about 11 a.m. as they claimed to have heard a loud explosion and tremors lasting about 10 seconds. Coming up next, Donald Trump's impeachment defense in disarray as lead lawyers quit. There's some more stories when we return. Stay tuned. We're back with news on the foreign front. Former US President Donald Trump suffered a major blow to his impeachment defense after all 5 of the impeachment lawyers have left his teams days before his trial is due to start. A source close to the former president described the change as a mutual decision between the parties. According to sources, the team, led by South Carolina lawyer Butch Bowers, along with Deborah Barbary, Greg Harris, Johnny Gasser and Josh Howard, resigned because of disagreements over how to mount Trump's defense. It is understood that Trump wanted his team to argue that there was election fraud, while the lawyers and some top advisors to the former president want the focus to remain on the constitutionality of a trial with the president no longer in office. This leaves Trump's defense team in turmoil as he prepares for a trial starting on February 9th to consider an article of impeachment passed by the House of Representatives, charging him with inciting his supporters to storm the US Capitol on January 6th. Vietnam's ruling Communist Party chief Nguyen Phu Trong has been re-elected for a rare third 5-year term on Sunday, cementing his position as one of the country's longest-serving leaders for decades. The 76-year-old pro-China conservative, who's rumoured to be in poor health, was given the nod after a week of closed-door talks at the twice-a-decade Communist Party Congress on Sunday. Another stint in the top job for Trong is seen as a boost for his high-profile anti-corruption campaign, officially dubbed a blazing furnace, that has swept through the party, police and armed forces. Since taking office in 2011, Trong has built up a power base that saw him emerge on top in a showdown with former Prime Minister Nguyen Thanh Dong at the last Congress in 2016. Vietnam has no paramount ruler and is officially led by 4 pillars: the chief of its Communist Party, the most powerful post, a president, a prime minister and the National Assembly chair. In other news, a team of World Health Organization (WHO) experts investigating the origins of COVID-19 visited a market in Wuhan, China on Sunday, where one of the first reported clusters of infections emerged over a year ago. The team arrived at the Huanan market on Sunday amid heavy security, with additional barricades set up outside a high blue fence surrounding the market before they left in a convoy after about 1 hour. The mission, delayed by China and weighed down by political baggage, has a remit to explore how the virus jumped from animal to human. But with the fieldwork element of a trip in its early stages, WHO officials have already downplayed expectations of finding the source of the virus, which has killed more than 2 million people and devastated the global economy. We're back with sports news now. Athletics. National high jumper Navraj Singh Randhawa renewed his own indoor national record at the indoor track and field Vienna 2021. According to official results, Navraj jumped 2.20 metres, 0.01 metre higher to set the new record in Austria. His previous record of 2.19 metres was set at the 21st Erdgas Indoor Athletics Championships in Chemnitz, Germany on February 10, 2019. National Athletics Chief Coach Mohammad Manshahar Abdul Jalil said the record will be officially ratified once the relevant documents are received by the Malaysian Athletics Federation. He said Navraj will continue training abroad. Navraj, who also holds the outdoor national record of 2.30 metres, has to jump 2.33 metres or higher to qualify for the Tokyo Olympics on merit, with the qualification period ending on June 29th. We now take a look at the highlights in Malaysia's main newspapers for Monday, February 1st. The New Straits Times focuses on a special report on a meat gambit who has been exploiting a loophole in the government system to facilitate the movement of uncertified meat into the country by meat cartel companies. Whereas Malaysia's best-selling Malay newspaper, Harian Metro, features a story of a generous family who have set up free food banks in front of a house in Shah Alam. Don't forget to get your copies or subscribe to the online newspaper. With that, we wrap and we take a look at this stunning time-lapse that was made over a span of 3 years in a small town called Nogales. It captures the beauty of the sky from sunrise to sunset and also showed the weather changes from clear, starry skies to rain bursts as well as rainbows. With that, I'm Anita. Thank you for tuning in and be well, Malaysia. Happy Wilayah Day.